everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video, and I want to make today's video super quick, simple, easy, pain-free, and all of those things. So let's just start. As the title of the video suggests, these are going to be my romance recommendations. They're going to gear more towards like adult romance, new adult romance. I'm pretty sure I don't have any young adult romance in here, so if you're not into books with a little bit of steamy scenes, some books with a little bit of smut and a lot of smut, then these books are not going to be for you, and that's okay. You can exit the video now. So the first author that I'm talking about is Crownover, and she is a new adult / adult romance author, and I use those terms very loosely because she doesn't exactly have like the typical new adult I'm off to college vibe in her books, but I would say they're in that age range, and I think some of the material that they have in them can be classified as new adult, but it's mainly adult romance. Crownover has two series that she, she has a lot. One of my favorite Crownover books are actually her Marked Men series, and if there's a way to put it on the screen or insert picture now, then I'll do that. But yeah, her Marked Men series, I believe there's 6. It's been a hot minute since I've read these books. There might be more, but I'm pretty sure there's 6, maybe 7, maybe 5. And each book follows a different person and love interest, so you do not have to read them in order. I actually kind of recommend that you don't. I actually started by reading Rome, and then I kind of went out of order. I like that freedom, and I like that you don't have to read one to get what's happening in another one. I also feel like I should mention that her books are really hard-hitting. Like, they deal with a lot of heavy topics, I think, some lighter than others, but I feel like Crownover's books are often about brokenness and about broken people and the situations that they get in, and results in trust issues or all of that in one, and I find it so relatable. But I feel it makes for very dynamic and very complex characters. She has a plethora of characters that I'm sure anyone can identify with. At the end of the day, that's what I love the most about Jay's books, is seeing the character growth and the development from someone who can't connect with other people, who has trouble trusting people, but they find that one person that makes them want to open up, and someone that they can actually trust their feelings with. And I find that to be so beautiful, and I know a lot of my friends who've read Jay's books agree that that's something they really love about her books. The story is not about how one person that you meet and love can fix you or save you, but it's about how two broken people can come together and be a little less broken together. And if that's not beautiful and poetic, I don't know what is. Also has another series that is kind of a spin-off to Marked Men series, and it's also a little bit darker than Marked Men series, and that is her Welcome to the Point series. I haven't read all of them in the series. I think I read 2 or 3 in the series, but they are a lot darker, and I wouldn't even say darker in the sense that like the subject matter, like, oh, trust issues and versus like actual physical abuse, like, no, because I think both books kind of talk a little bit about that. I mean darker in the sense that like violence, goriness a little bit, mainly the violence. It's a lot of violence and a lot of like, you don't want to be near me because I will literally kill you. Like, I know how to decapitate someone kind of evil. If you're into that life on the edge thing, then I think you would really love her Welcome to the Point series. I find that I liked her Marked Men series a little bit better, but both series are beautiful and heartbreaking. And Welcome to the Point series I would just classify as a lot more gritty and just edgy, and I mean and I enjoyed that aspect of it. So if you read her Marked Men series and find that you're craving more, I would definitely branch into her Welcome to the Point series. The other author that I wanted to mention, which they're best friends and I think that's adorable, is Cora Carmack. And I know there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say controversy, but a lot of like hits or misses with people when I talk about Cora Carmack. And I want to make it a point to say that I don't want to say I'm not recommending, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video, I won't mention her new adult college romance thing. I don't know if it actually has a name, if the series has a name, I don't know. I'm going to talk about this because I actually have a pen for it and I use it all the time. Thanks, Cora! I want to mention Cora Carmack's Rusk series, which if you're a fan of sports romances, this is the one for you. I actually have one of them. When I was thinking about what books I wanted to bring with me to Canada, again, if you don't know, hi, I'm from California and I moved to Canada a couple months ago. And I couldn't take all my books with me, so they're all back home and I only took a few. But this was one of the books that I took with me, and I've only started to tab it. I do this thing where I start rereading it and then I put it down for a little bit and then pick it back up again. But I do want to get to a point where it's completely annotated, and this is as far as I go, and look at how many tabs I have. So out of the 3 that are out, this is my absolute favorite. It's all played out and it's so good. So in this one I actually really liked and appreciated that there's a little bit more diversity in like the characters. The main girl in this is Italian, and then the main dude in this is Mexican. I believe he is Mexican. I want to say he is. And I mean with a name like Mateo Torres. I feel like I'm a broken record, especially when I talk about Jay's books and Cora's books, but it's their characters. The way they craft their characters are so relatable, and like I feel like there's a piece for everyone to relate to. And in this one especially, it's this girl who feels like she's not experiencing everything in the way that she's supposed to, and so she starts making a list of things that she, almost like a bucket list of things that she wants to do before she graduates from college. And enter this dude who is like, oh girl, I'll help you finish that list. And I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. So good, and the shenanigans they get into and their chemistry in this just flies off the freaking pages. Like in her other books, they're like, okay, yeah, boy meets girl, like cool, and then like relationship ensues. This, the moment they're on the page together, you're just like, holy fuck. There is so much chemistry in here. I think if you want to read something that's a fun time, it's super quick read, some nice steamy scenes. Oh, the scenes in this one. There's a library scene in here, and listen, my book nerds, you need to read this library scene, okay? So another book that I want to mention, I don't have physical, we're back to having no physical copies of things, sorry guys. And that's Easy by Tamara Weber, and again, I read this several years ago, but just thinking back on it, and I will be the first to admit it had some issues, right? I follow Jacqueline, a college student who's dealing with the aftermath of being sexually assaulted by someone that she knows. So she meets this boy in class that she starts having like a friendly relationship with, and they're kind of connecting. He's totally into her, and it's so obvious. And it's just cute seeing their relationship kind of flourish into something more than friendship. And then meanwhile, she's also having a relationship with a TA in this class that she has only had conversations with through email. So it's an interesting story of just how she kind of deals with things but also doesn't deal with them. But I do still think that there is genuine love and respect that goes through this relationship, which for new adult and any type of adult romance, that's kind of saying something. Another author that I want to mention, and I only mention a specific series here because I know they have many series out there. I want to mention Sherilyn Kenyon, and this is for if you're a fan of fantasy, urban fantasy with some smut and romance, this is definitely going to be for you. If you're familiar with Sherilyn Kenyon, and even if you Google her, it will all come up. There's like this whole world that she has crafted, and there's like dream hunters and were hunters, and they all have their own set of series, and it goes on. But she also has a series that's called the League series, and it's basically a series that follows assassins and this society crafted and the rules that they have to abide by, but also the ones they're not abiding by, and how that conflicts. And I think I was totally only reading it for the smut because it was that good. So Born of Fire by Sherilyn Kenyon was the first one that I read in the League series. I think it is actually the first book, I'm not 100% sure. And it follows, I'm gonna mess up their names because I think in the book he only called her Shay, but that's the main girl, and she's like she's an assassin. I think she's like, in the back of the book it says she's the best assassin of that world. I'm not 100% sure, but even if she wasn't, I would be like, she is the best assassin in the world. She was so badass. I feel like Shay from Born of Fire is what Selena from Throne of Glass was trying to be, but Shay does it 1,000 times better. And the guy in it, his name is Sin, and he has this like weird robot companion with him, and it's just a cute relationship between them two. But then once you enter her, and then the robot starts to be like, "Alright, you cool," and then that's cute. And I'm doing such a shit job at explaining these things, but to fantasy and urban fantasies is really difficult because I feel like there's all these different pieces that I need to know how everything works. But I feel like reading Born of Fire, I was given a lot of information and not everything was explained, but it was done in a way that I was okay not knowing everything. And so if you want like a step into something urban fantasy, this might be a really good choice to pick up, because it definitely does a good job of giving you just enough where you know the world and just enough where you're getting the main plot of the story, and then you just kind of go forward with the characters, and it's a fun time. I had a lot of fun with this. And then the last author that I want to mention here is mostly good. It has a couple bads. I want to mention Karina Halley, and if you don't know about her, you really should. She's very popular in the adult romance, contemporary romance. If you like stories with lots of smut, and I mean lots of smut, and drama, this is the author for you. I think my favorite book by her, which oddly enough is actually called Smut, and it's about this college girl who is a writer, or like she wants to be a writer, but in the process of getting there, she's writing Harlequin paperbacks that you see a lot at like grocery stores or like bookstores. What the character is writing, because it's the easiest and quickest way to make a lot of money. So that's what she's doing. And this guy who's kind of been an asshole to her in the beginning finds out about this, and he's like, "Let's write smut together." And I'm like, let's write smut? Yes, write smut together. They write steamy smut together, they get super famous together, and they end up having sex with each other multiple times. And I'm like, this is fabulous. If you'd like, I have a full review of this book on my book blog, which I'll leave linked down in the description below, and you can check that out. I go way more into depth on exactly my thoughts in there, and it gives you a full synopsis of the book if you're interested in that. And if you're curious, like if you've read those and you're like, man, you're right, I really do love some Karina Halley smut, like she writes them really well, but you want a little bit more depth and a little more like drama, a little more of the darker side, I have a book series for you. Karina Halley's Dirty Angels trilogy that is some dark shit. Like if you thought Crownover was some dark shit, no. Karina's Dirty Angels trilogy is actually some dark shit. Like, if you're in trigger warnings for everything, trigger warnings for sexual assault, trigger warnings for violence, graphic violence, trigger warnings for self-harm and cutting and things like that, like if you're at all triggered by any of that, you do not want to read these books. It's hard to explain it unless you've read it, because it's definitely not for everyone. And if you read this and go, dude, why the F did you recommend this to me? I'm sorry. Angels, the first book in the trilogy, follows a former beauty queen named Luisa Chavez. She has grown up in not the best circumstances. She's grown up in poverty. She's been working a waitressing job, and she's still not making that much money, until a drug lord kind of takes an interest in her and basically offers her something that she doesn't pass up. And that's basic, and it's not a spoiler because it tells you in the synopsis of the book, but basically a drug lord says, hey, come and be my wife and I'll give you like all of the riches of the world. And so her being in the situation that she's in, she's like, I'll do it. And then she actually gets kidnapped by a rival cartel of the guy that she married. And so this is a story like they kidnap her, they torture her, like it's a lot of fucked up shit that happens in this book. But in the midst of that, she starts to develop this weird codependent and honestly codependent and probably borderline toxic relationship with the guy that kidnapped her. Stockholm syndrome, first of all, which yes, it is. But there's something about their relationship that it just, the way it blossoms, the way it grows, and even as it grows, it's still toxic. Just the environment that she's in is toxic. So at the end of this, it's a story about survival, right? And what she's doing to survive. and who she's willing to align herself with and who she's willing to give herself to, and making sure that it's her choice of who she's giving herself to. And this was fucked up. It was dark, it was evil, it was gruesome. I freaking loved it. So I do just want to read the warning that is provided with this on the Goodreads link, and I'll leave the Goodreads link for this down below so you can check it out. But here's the warning that they give you. Warning. This book deals with drug cartels, and as such it contains a lot of sex and violence, and some violent sex. It can get pretty ugly, pretty dark, and pretty crazy. There is drug use, abuse, a bit of torture, and dubious consent. The hero is not a hero, and the villains, well, they're even worse. If this sort of thing bothers you, please do not read it. This ain't no cupcake farting unicorn kind of book. If you even are a bit squeamish about violence, brutality, and rape, this is your warning to stay away from a book that you certainly will not like. Why read books that you know you won't like? Really intense, romance, suspenseful, thrilling book, and it's really, really good. Okay, we reached the end. Yay! This is so long. I'm so sorry. Any other recommendation videos, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will definitely do them. I actually really like this. There's been a lot of videos that I watch where like people are recommending videos, and these are a lot of books that I don't see mentioned, so I'm really glad that I can make this and hopefully shed some light on some other really great adult romance books. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff, please. I super appreciate the support. It means a lot for a small booktuber like me. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!